All right, so this is a response to comments about a debate I did with Vegan Gains. I'm going to link the Vegan Gains debate in the description. I was going to have this reaction go along with pieces from it, but the pieces I'm reacting to are throughout the video, so this will just be easier. So essentially, within the debate, me and Vegan Gains talked about Alex O'Connor and that vegan teacher, and how that vegan teacher said that because Alex went from vegan to non-vegan, he should be hung. And then Vegan Gains said that he would press a button to make Alex die, and he asked me if I had pressed a button, and I said no. Within that conversation, a handful of things were said that led some people to put comments making claims about me that I did not, at very least, did not intend. And so I'm going to go through and explain what I meant, at least. Okay, so this response is to Steve Godfrey. So Steve said a few different things, but one of the complaints he has was that when Vegan Gains asked me for an argument for why Alex deserves to live, that I my focus was on like veganism and not mentioning that he's a human and humans have like rights. And so my point here was that the debate was about activism, and so I kind of made the focus about that. I do think that humans and animals deserve to be left alone. Obviously, people and animals can be killed in like self-defense and various different reasons. But anyways, it's not that I have no reasons for why Alex and anybody else shouldn't be killed for not committing an illegal crime. So anyways, there's that. One of the other concerns, let's see. One of the other concerns was that he thought I was saying that if Alex, what was it? That essentially if I could press a button to make Alex die if nobody else knew, that he thought I would do that, when what I was claiming was that in the future, if it became illegal to kill animals because we knew 100% for sure that humans do not need animals, therefore the law said you can't have animals. I think I worded it poorly, but I was basically just saying I think it would be reasonable to have the law be there, and therefore whatever the punishment is, you get that punishment. But I don't think that should, because I think that's likely to happen, doesn't mean that I think somebody now that is not breaking the law should get in trouble because they're committing the act that in the future will be breaking the law. And I don't know what that outcome will be exactly. I didn't get too far into detail, and it might have sounded like I thought that killing an animal should be punished by death. I don't know what the exact answer would be, and the best way I can describe this is imagine if somebody took a dog and hung it up with a rope by its feet and just like stabbed it a whole bunch, wanted to see it bleed and whimper and cry, but not kill it. And then they kept torturing it like day after day after day and doing this thing, and they filmed it, and they were just doing it because it gave them joy. What kind of trouble would you get in for that? What kind of trouble would you get in for just torturing something and then eventually killing it? And at some point, especially when it becomes more illegal to harm animals, I think it might be reasonable for something like that to lead to, I don't know, 10 years in prison, 20 years in prison. I don't know about losing one's life, but I don't know what the numbers would have to be. What if you did that with 5,000 dogs? I really don't know. And so I think there are plenty of cases of harm and death to animals in the right setting and society layout that would lead one to spending their life in jail for something related to animals. But it's complicated. So anyways, I don't know the exact answer to that. But and then the third thing was about that vegan teacher. And I made a comment about how her claim that Alex should be hung now will look right in the future. And essentially what I meant by that was, so she's saying he should be hung, and I think that's outrageous. I think obviously somebody not doing something illegal now should not be hung. But in the future, if we do find out that we don't have to eat animals and therefore it becomes illegal to eat animals, and at some point generation after generation does not eat animals anymore and thinks it's outrageous. And when they look back in history books and they see that people ate animals and they find it so despicable, and they might view it the same way that we view like slavery and whipping slaves back in slave days, that a lot of people, when they see when they like read a story about slaves doing horrible thing, or sorry, slave owners doing horrible things to slaves, they think like, oh, I wish I could have just like killed that slave owner. If I could press a button and get away with it, I'd totally kill that slave owner. Or even if you didn't need to press a button, if you could time travel and be there, you'd kill them. I think most people would do that. So what I meant by she'll look right is in the future, if people feel this way, they could look back and think of any meat eater in this same way. But they probably would also think the same thing about that vegan teacher, knowing that she ate meat at one point. But people might look at it differently if they see that somebody tried harder, like I think Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin, they inherited slaves from their family. But in general, I think they were thought of as very anti-slave and constantly working towards ending slavery. And so somebody that eats meat and becomes a vegan and is a vegan activist, it might be viewed differently. And so it might be viewed very bad if somebody goes vegan and then not vegan. So I can imagine somebody in the future viewing Alex in this way, where they would view what that vegan teacher said as reasonable due to how angry they are from a perspective of a society where everybody in that society does not eat animals anymore. So that's essentially what I meant by that. And then the last thing I wanted to say was, so AV in here said, in the video you're making, can you please clarify your position on whether you currently believe that humans who do not go vegan should be killed? For example, do you favor the killing of humans who kill animals for food? Yes or no? Answer first, please. I didn't answer it first, but anyways, then explain your reasoning. For your answer, please assume there are no laws or legal consequences for or other factors to influence your position. What do you really believe? Okay, so I think laws affect a lot of things. I think they should. And so if I'm ignoring laws and I'm just talking about what I think should happen, so I think there should be laws. So there's that. Like, let's say I think there should be a law that if we know in the future that you do not need animals to survive at all, it's 100% proven, there's no way around it. No human needs to consume it. In the same way that we know no human needs to consume human meat, let's say that we become perfectly aware of that, considering all other animals. Then what I really think is that there should be laws preventing humans from killing animals to eat them. Now, what those laws are, I don't know. But do I think those should affect anybody now, considering that we don't have that information? We have plenty of information, plenty good information in my mind. And but I think the studies are new enough. There's a lot to happen. I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime, but I don't think we have enough information to make it illegal to eat animals right now. And I don't have the information to make me feel like that should be what the law even should be. So what I think the law should be, and therefore what I think should be enacted once the law is there, how people should be treated, that's a whole different story. I don't know if I'm going to think that people should like lose their life for that reason. But whatever it is would be whatever it is. It'd be the idea of because again, this is only including the idea that we know this thing. Now, sure, there might be some wackadoodles out there that think you need to drink your own urine or eat other humans to be healthy, and we have enough information to say that it would be so few people that would think that type of thing, and so we're not going to legalize cannibalism just because one person might think that. So I'm talking in a world where we know to an extreme to where any reasonable person would go, yes, this has been figured out. And so anyways, I think to answer your question, would be that I don't think anything should happen. I really think that we just need to keep studying things, and we need to have compassion and not harm anything that we don't need to. If you are convinced that you need animal products to be healthy, then you should eat animal products as few as you need to be healthy from whatever you think. But try to get the ones that say free range or humanely sourced, or go to your local farmer. Better yet, better than all those, go hunting. Do whatever you can do to cause as little suffering and force to beings as possible, and yeah, and we'll keep doing studies and figuring out what needs to be done. I think there should be laws in place for, say, like pigs, for factory farming for pigs. They cram so many in such a small space that they kind of like cannibalize each other. So when they're born, they cut out their teeth and their tails. And I think there should be laws that say you cannot cut off their teeth, cannot cut off their tail. And because of that, you cannot have so many crammed into a small spot. And then because of that being illegal, there'd be a law in respect to how we treat animals. So therefore you cannot do that. And if somebody did that, then they would get whatever jail time or fine they get. But aside from having strong regulations like that to remove as much of the suffering as possible, I don't think we're at any place for any strict vegan laws. But anyway, so hopefully that answered you guys' questions. And I know that was a lot of rambling, but anyways, we're going to call it good for the now. Okay, take care.